Hey, this is Natalie of the Freedom Coach Podcast, episode number 5. And today I want to dedicate to authenticity. Because yesterday I talked about the importance of personal development to become the better and bigger version of yourself, work on yourself so you can become the bigger vessel, and authenticity. And those are the two keys that are really, really responsible for being successful. And the question came up from one of my Facebook friends, what is authenticity, or how do I find out what it means and what it means for me personally? And it's a very personal thing. Yes, authenticity is very personal. So I gave this some thought today, and I think what it all comes down to is your core values. So what is really important to you? Your core values is what intrinsically makes you you. And let me give you an example. So one of my core values is freedom. Obviously, because this is the Freedom Coach Podcast. And freedom for me means not being micromanaged. So if I'm in a job or if I'm in a position or if I work with someone who's going to micromanage me, who's going to want me to do stuff to the T exactly how he or she wants me to do it, it's going to cut down on my freedom and I'm not going to like it. And I'm not going to be authentic and true to myself if I keep doing that job or working with that person. And for me, for quite a long time, I was working in companies where I had management positions and I was doing things the way they wanted to do it and the way the top management wanted to do it and based on their core values and their beliefs. And it wasn't matching my core values and my beliefs. And what happened was that I was totally unsatisfied and I was unhappy and I felt squeezed and I felt not heard and I felt like in prison. I talked about it yesterday, and only after I realized what it really comes down to and I found out what my core values are, what's really important to me, this is when I also found out why some people just don't align with me and some people don't match and I can't deal with some people and I don't want some people in my environment. Because typically when you get really, really upset, if you dig deep, it's always because someone has hurt your core value, one of your core values. Something that's important to you got hurt, got kicked with the feet and got kind of like squished and squashed. And mainly, I think it's actually 100% of the time, if you're really, really upset about something and it really gets to the core of you, it's because your intrinsic core, your authentic self was hurt. So you can do that test and think back of a time where you were really hurt, pissed off, or mad at someone and it really pushed your buttons. And try to find out what core value was hurt. And the same thing goes for happiness, but it's just not as strong because somehow human beings, we feel like the negative emotions are always much more powerful than the positive ones. So the same goes for happiness. If you think back on the last time you were really, really happy, you were really fulfilled, you felt really in a flow, in a state of joy, think back what core value of yours was possibly satisfied. And actually, I created a training. It's a free 2-hour online training that you can download at findcoachingclients.org. And it's all about that. It's all about your values, your strengths, your beliefs, how you do things. And I think it's an important training. It's an important insight if you're not clear about what your authentic self is, because everything starts with awareness. Once you're aware of what your authentic self is, once you're aware what your core values are, a lot of things are going to be very, very clear to you. A lot of ahas are going to drop, because a lot of things you're going to find out why things work a certain way or don't work a certain way for you once you get really clear on yourself. So download it. It's free. And I created it mainly for my coaches and especially for the ones who start out, because a lot of times they struggle with finding their topic. So they don't know what their topic should be, what they're really good at, what would they be coaching people on. And that's why I created. But actually, it's a training that anybody who wants to get clear about him or herself can do and benefit from. So findcoachingclients.org, it's under Find Your Topic. And it's free, no strings attached. Yes, you have to opt in. And once you opt in, you will get a couple of emails from me. If you don't like it, just opt out. So that's not really a big risk. Yeah, so much for authenticity. And I mean, I could talk for hours about the subject, but I think if you start with the core values and you find out what is important to you, and most of all, why is it important? Because another thing that you can do is once you find out, let's say you find out your top 5 core values, what you can do is you can start describing them and verbalizing them and talk about what it means. So for me, freedom means being able to do what I want, when I want it, with whom I want it. I have freedom of choice. I can work wherever I want. I can work whenever I want. I don't have to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning. I do a lot of times, but I don't have to. So that's for me, that is freedom. For someone else, freedom might be something else. Freedom might be being able to eat whatever he or she wants, or whatever, I don't know, going out, or there's different definitions of freedom. So that's the second step. First of all, find out what your core values are, and then secondly, define them for you. What do they really mean? And then the third step, if you want to dig even deeper, you can find out why is it important to you. Why is this core value a core value of yours? So this is dedicated to authenticity, a little small step on becoming aware of what your true authentic self is. Natalie Sabrina Dahl from the Freedom Coach Podcast, episode 5. And until we hear each other again, be free.